Hey everyone, I'm Julia.
And I'm JCK.
This is the Missing Manual, and we are in part 3 of a quick little series we're doing on AI and agentic AI. And the first episode, we talked about how we're both using AI. And the last episode was talking about a business case for it of creating your own voice agent or voice artifact and content artifact. And this episode, we are going to talk about, drumroll,
Handoff Documents. Woohoo!
one of
So
those
yes,
really exciting things, right?
it does not sound sexy, but it's actually really sexy, especially if anybody has been struggling with specifically Claude usage.
Yeah.
Um, if
So, what is a
you have
handoff
been
document?
Yeah, so a handoff document is something, it's a best practice. One thing to, I guess, to ground on is AI, as you're having a conversation with an AI, as that conversation gets longer, right? Like, so usually when I start with an AI, let's say I bring something to ChatGPT and I'm like, hey, I'm working with Julia, we're doing this thing. I want your help to XYZ, right? And then as we go, I'm clarifying, no, I want this, I want that, I want this. As that conversation gets longer, the AI is going to more heavily weight the end of the conversation versus the beginning of the conversation. And typically, our guardrails and constraints are at the beginning of the conversation, right? So, what a handoff document does is it allows for you to almost pause, capture the insights, or as I say, collect the dots, so that you can start a new conversation where the AI is going to be at its highest ability to process. This is also really important as it relates to specifically Claude, because Claude usage, when you're having a conversation with Claude, it is using credit bandwidth as you continue for every single like it's like rerunning every single pull, every single piece of the conversation that you've had as you go. And so it can look like a hockey stick in terms of how much of the AI that you're using. So again, best practice is when you notice that happening to pause, to ask the AI to help you generate a handoff document so that it can essentially, you can even say, like, I want you to help me generate a handoff document. I have a specific format that I use. But if you're doing this for the first time, for the purpose of restarting a net new conversation in Claude or GPT or whatever, please make sure to include everything that you would need or Claude would need or GPT would need to be able to restart this conversation, right? There are some more things that we can get into on that, I guess, as specifics, but does that make sense? I should pause first because sometimes I get a little excited on this stuff and
Well,
start
I
really
think,
talking with my hands.
right, what I'd add about it is I can't tell you how many times I've played in any of the AIs. I'm newer to Claude, mostly Gemini because I use Gmail products and ChatGPT, where it would start frustrating the heck out of me with hallucinations. Like, that's not what we're talking about now. We're talking about X, not Y. It's so frustrating. And, I wish I knew then what I know now, which is having a handoff doc and or starting a new conversation, not necessarily going back to one that I had a while ago, because you can see your past results. So if you want to pick up on something you've worked on and it's been a little while, when you go to dust it off, go to that old one, ask for the handoff document, and then create the new chat. And that's not a
Shoot.
habit that I started with, but it's a habit that I've been working with now.
I'm wondering if we should actually create one of these in real time so we can show our friends. Okay, I'm going to change this so that you're not looking at my 10,000 open tabs because that might be absolutely exhausting. One of the things that I did 2 days ago, and I've used this example before, but ChatGPT is really great for walking you step by step through home improvements or home maintenance. I specifically have a separate GPT that has walked me through troubleshooting my heat and glow gas fireplace. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to that conversation. And instead of just adding to the bottom of it, we are going to ask it to generate a handoff document that gives all the details of the fireplace. All right, we have my chat GPT.
Yep.
Here is my conversation that I had with them. My pilot light was out on my gas fireplace. I have a very frustrating gas fireplace. It's like, I think it was like bougie at the time, but like the technology doesn't necessarily like work. So in this conversation is a lot of information about this fireplace. So I would love your help to generate a handoff document. This document should include my model number. It should capture some of the issues that you have helped me troubleshoot through. Um, Please do not hallucinate. Please include anything else you think is relevant so that you, ChatGPT, can help me with this fireplace in the future. If you have additional questions to ask me, please do. All right, we're going to see how that works. How you make future troubleshooting faster and less frustrating. Fireplace handoff document. Here we go. There is the exact model number. There is a serial number. You know how it knows that? I took a picture of the fireplace in order to ask for step by step instructions on how to fix the fireplace. So it had that information. It also has a specific control module, how this fireplace works. This is an important part. It's not a standing pilot system, right? It's ignited on demand. I didn't know that until this last conversation that I had with ChatGPT, where it helped me figure out how to light the pilot light. Because I was like, I went and grabbed my like fire stick to go light it, thinking that was how it was going to work. So here are some observed issues. This is another thing that is really important to include in a handoff document. If you have specifically had issues with something, whether it's the conversation, whether it's uh, bugs in your code, right? Make sure to document that. What was the issue and what was the fix? Because you're teaching the future AI essentially how to like get this right. Also, versions are important too, to include that in like a traditional handoff document. So root causes, resolution steps that work, key learnings and patterns. All these pieces are super, super helpful. Now, this is not in a format that's going to make it easy for me to do this in the future. So here's what I'm going to do. This is great. First, how would you improve on this? Is there anything we didn't include that we should? Please explain what it is and update the overall guide. Cool. This is another important note. We don't do it probably enough, but often the AI is the best lens or insight on how to do this better. But again, usually it's just trying to give us what we asked for. But if we ask it specifically for how would you improve this, right? We're helping it use its brain to be able to figure out how to improve on the process, right? Super important piece. Um, Here we go. I love this. It's giving me some great things. Now I have a V2. This is awesome, but it's still not in a format that's going to make this very easy. Oh, because it's still going, isn't it?
So I will sometimes scroll to the bottom or the top, depending on, and then copy it and then put it into a Word doc or Google Doc and save it.
Yes. I personally really like having PDF docs because it makes it really, really easy. And so then I will save. I'm asking it to take the exact thing that it just gave me as a so like the V2 as a PDF doc. And then as I go to save that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. There it is. Download your fireplace handoff document. Boom.
Do you have a folder that's like all your personal handoff documents, or do
I
you
have
have it
one for
like,
work. I haven't for work. I haven't ever done this before for this type of thing, but I'm going to do it in the future because the same concepts as like I couldn't stop sharing now, but the same concepts of best practices of being able to capture or collect those dots or those handoff documents apply at home too. So I'll probably create a like the fireplace handoff document's great. I'm probably going to do this for other things that I've had troubleshooting issues with.
Appliances.
Well, and one of my friends, Christina Butler, hi Christina, she created like an amazing Google Doc where you would collect the dots of all of the different like specs or models of like your fridge, your like whatever. And so she had like this Bible, like of not Bible, it's not the right word to use, but she had this document that had every single solitary appliance that she had in her house. The model number, the serial number, the brand, right? The guide, like the virtual how to guide or whatever, but you
Mhm.
could easily do something like that. And I'm not planning on selling this house ever, but if I ever was, being able to again share that is helpful. But if I'm hypothetically not here and my kids tell me, hey, our water heater is whatever, right? I can just go reference that and be like, hey, here's a specific model number. Now I can reach out to that person. If I had handout documents like this, I could be like, here's the history on what went wrong and when, right? Because
Yeah.
we're creating that digital kind of version. I don't know. Does that help to explain what a handout document is? Why it's important? What did I
Yeah,
miss?
I think to share with everyone, like I'm building something right now, and it's been really critical for me, especially because I've been having AI develop some HTML code. I don't know the first thing about code and all of that, but it's been an iteration of versions of what I'm building. And so having that handoff document, especially with Claude when I run out of time, is been great because I've been able to then restart with the handoff document in a new place, and it helps pick up quickly and
Yes.
save space or
Best
credits.
practice when you hit 90% in Claude usage, ask it to generate a handoff document. Do not wait until later because you might get stuck and then it's going to like it's you've got to wait till like 2:30 or whatever at 3:30 or whatever time it is, right? But when you get to 90%, make sure to have it generate a handoff document and then if you continue going great, right? But at least you've got that captured. It's really going to, I mean, it makes your AI work so much better when you do this too. Like once you understand the length or when it goes on, like if the AI goes on a side quest and you're like, what the heck are you doing? Right? Like that should be a signal to you that, like, hey, we got to pause this, we got to shut this down, and we got to start this in a new one. And like, again, it's like a hockey stick in terms of how much like you're really using the brain of the AI for the right things. The
It
other
will
thing that
save
this is
you.
important for,
Oh, go
what was
on.
that?
I was gonna
Yeah, I
say
was going
it's
to
gonna
say,
save you so much aggravation because I can't tell you how many times especially with Gemini, and this maybe more so a while ago, would just like want to throw my computer out the window, Gemini and ChatGPT, because I wasn't doing that. And it was so hallucinating and it was getting so frustrating. And it's a lifesaver.
yeah, it really is. And again, yes, these models have memory that is built into them. Yes, they're going to be able to typically understand patterns at scale, but it is a best practice in all of these models to pretend like memory does not work and to use things like handoff documents or like what we talked about in our last episode. If you didn't have a chance to listen to that, it was about brand voice artifacts. And so, again, these are some tips and tricks for how to maximize usage, but also how to get some of these things right. Because, again, this way you're understanding a little bit more about how these AIs work and how can I maximize how I'm using them, right? The other thing I was going to say, handoff documents are also really important if you're working in teams and if you're building agents. So, like, I personally have like an agent tracking document. It's really intense because I tend to be a little intense. Let's be honest, it's no judgment zone here, right? But in that tracker, I have the name of the agent, I have the most recent build file, I have the handoff document. And part of this, and I'm primarily the main person at GPS that's building agents, but in the future, that won't always be the case. And so hypothetically, if one of our clients has something that's maybe they need an optimization of one of the agents we built for them, right? Or they want something to change in this specific spot. Now, Dwayne, my leader, right? He's the chief innovation officer. He can take, because I've collected those dots to connect those dots, right? He can go and pick up exactly where I was. He's got all the history there because the handoff's there. It's got all of the like the build documents and everything. And he can go to his Claude and we can get this moving and move it forward. Right. So like it's a way for scalability as well. So you might not necessarily need that today, but always be thinking about like again, from in terms of scalability, like how and if you don't know how, ask Claude to help you build something to be able to track these things, right? Like I'm probably going to take my handoff document that I built for our agents and change it to specifically have like all of the areas in my house. So like my furnace, like, and so instead of it being the agent name, it's just going to be the appliance, right? And here's the handoff documents, and here is the manuals, and here are all those different things. But again, you're leveraging AI for good. So
If I think about how someone might apply this in their work, especially if we're talking more so in our last episode around building different agents and things like that. I think it's really critical. You think about your work process documentation, SOPs, and things like that. This is pretty much the same type of thing that you were just talking about, right? You have your handoff document, but you also have the tracker and the other documentation that goes with it. So think of it like SOPs for your AI usage. And I think that's a good way to look at it.
yeah, that's one of the things that's included in my tracker is there is an SOP. There are specific prompts so other people can be able to do this. There's version history, there's resources so we can understand what like the SOP is grounded on, like all sorts of fun things. But again, like we're all doing this and we're all building together.
And
And
learning together.
and we're learning together. And when we learn out loud, we can move so much faster. And so thank you, wherever you are. If you've made it, this is our longest episode that we've done to date, Julia.
I think so, but a really important one.
A really important one. It was fun too. So if you have made it this far, please like and subscribe or leave us a comment. If you're noticing tips or tricks and are willing to share, feel free to add them in a comment or send us a message. And if you have questions that we can address as well in future episodes, please let us know because we would love to make sure that we're developing content that works for you. Until then, I'm JCK.
And I'm Julia. This is the missing manual. Bye.
Until next time.